Thoughts Podcast with Joe Sanchez. Hey, what's going on, gang? Welcome to the Typical Thoughts Podcast. I am your host, Joe Sanchez, and we're going to talk about stuff that we all think about, but we do not like to share with others. Now, we're going to keep it clean so that everybody can enjoy it, so stay tuned and enjoy the show. So yeah, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for listening and thank you for tuning in. Today is what? Sunday. I would say the 21st. Yeah, just about that. August 21st. I am your host, Joe Sanchez, and I have a special person with me today here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Pily, and I will be co-hosting Joe tonight.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm not gonna call you Pily. I'm gonna call you Mom. Is that all right with you?
Perfectly fine.
And I'll say to everybody why I'm gonna call you Mom. I'm gonna call you Mom because you are my mom. You gave me life. You gave me birth.
I sure did.
How are you today? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. How are you and yourself?
I am doing pretty good. I am enjoying this podcast, and we have a very interesting subject today. So yeah, our topic for today is growing up in a Christian home or growing up in a home with morals versus growing up on a home with no morals or no type of discipline background. What do you think about that, Mom?
Yeah, morals, huh?
Do you think that there is such a thing where there can be too much discipline?
No, there can never be too much discipline.
What about abuse? Do you think there's abuse going on, or do you think do you think some parents can be abusive while they're trying to be disciplined with their children?
I think so. We have to define abuse and what discipline is. However, I think that some parents can actually go overboard, and in their mentality of discipline, it can become abuse. It all depends on what they're doing.
Well, I mean, as I would say, as everybody knows, I am a Christian. I became a Christian when I was 20 years old. As a matter of fact,
Yes.
I was living in New York. I was upstate in New York, and I was in the Army, and a friend invited me to church. But before that, I didn't grow up as a Christian. I mean, we visited churches here and there.
Yes, that's absolutely
and
true.
there were mostly Christian churches. I went to a Catholic service. It was once or twice when we were living in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
For those typical days.
I didn't. I'm more of a Christian. I was actually taught more about Christian than Catholic. When we did visit with your father. He was more of a Catholic.
Yeah,
yes.
And the family, they're more of Catholics, and
Yes.
with Catholicism, it's more of a ritual. It's more like Good Fridays type of things. There's a service. I don't know if you remember the name in English, but there's a service that they do every year. It's like at midnight.
Yeah.
What's the name? Do you know the name in Spanish?
It's
El Gallo, or is it something like that?
No, you're talking about Misa de Gallo.
Yeah.
That usually is
Mass.
done. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's usually done on Christmas Eve.
Is
La
that
Misa de
really what it
Gallo.
is?
Yes.
I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, it's usually done. It's a typical thing in Puerto Rico.
Uh-huh.
And it's usually done on Christmas Eve, La Misa de Gallo, and it's after midnight. And they even give you chocolate.
That's what I remember.
Hot chocolate and crackers,
cheese, and yep, the cheese, the cheddar cheese with crackers,
Yes.
and that I
Yes.
remember. That much I remember. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
growing up Christian or growing up in home with morals, I would say the first thing that growing up Christian means is that a family usually or typically goes to church on Sundays, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, that's part of morals.
right. Okay. Well, we'll get into morals quick in a little bit, but let's establish what growing up on a Christian home is. What do you
Okay.
think? So, I would say the first thing is that the family goes to church on Sundays,
Yes.
Sunday mornings, right? They get up, they do whatever they have to do, and they go to church. Okay. I
Right.
would say that growing up Christian also is going to church at least one other day during the week.
Yes.
Wednesdays, Wednesday
Because
nights.
remember, Christian is Sundays is the worship service,
Mm-hmm.
and then that other day that you go in the week is actually to do Bible classes
Or prayer,
or
or
prayers.
those type of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Catholic, you only go on Sundays.
Okay.
That I know of. Again, remember,
But they have like a class. They do classes like before you're gonna get baptized or something. They do
yeah,
have
do
a
your communion. Yeah.
communion
You
type
see,
of
I'm
thing.
not too familiar with that.
Neither am I. Neither am
Yeah,
I.
I'm not too
So
familiar with
okay,
that.
so we're establishing that growing up a Christian, you go to church once or twice a week.
Yes.
You study your Bible, and what about if you have you all right? So you're growing up as a Christian,
Uh-huh.
and your parents all they do is argue, or they argue a lot.
Okay.
So you may be a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
but what kind of example are you setting for those that are watching you, mainly your children?
Ouch. Yeah, not a very good example, because if I'm bickering and fussing at my husband, how am I going to teach my children as sibling not to fuss and bicker?
Yeah, so we could say, I'm a Christian. I'm going to teach my children to become a Christians, but it's
Right.
also just with life, just the normal things with life.
Yeah.
It is the example that you set that will actually have a lasting impact on their
Yeah,
lives.
I agree.
Okay, so
I
what?
agree.
So all right, so let's say you have a child. You,
Mhm,
mom,
okay.
you're a parent. I'm not. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. But all right, you have a child. You go to church. The child turns 12, 13, and they say, "Mom or Dad, can I stay home today? I don't want to go to church." What would you say?
No, you're going to church with me.
Okay, why? Why are you
Because-
forcing him or her to go to church?
It's not that I'm forcing. It's that I'm not going to leave a 12-year-old alone in the house. So if I'm going to church, you're going to church with me.
Okay, all right. What about if there's a family member or a friend that wants to take them away for a weekend or a week, and they're not going to go to church, and you know they're going to be safe with a family member? Would you still say no because Sunday is church day?
Well, I wouldn't force them, because what I'm trying to do as a parent is teach them to love God. And if I force it into them, at one point they can rebel, and I'm not
They
looking
can become
for that.
rebellious. Yeah, I agree. So one of the things that I would say growing up Christian and in a Christian home is to actually go to church. And then sometimes as youngsters, we tend to think that we know what we want, or we
Yes.
tend to think that we know how life works.
Yes.
But I think that as parents, people should I wouldn't use the word force, but I would say teach them that church is church.
Right.
Church it's more than it's a worship place, but it's a community
Right.
place.
And you lead by example. You have to lead by example. If you want your children to love God, they have to see you loving God.
So yeah, and you set the example. You go to church. You do what you have to do. What do you do when you argue? You're a good Christian family. You're arguing in front of your child. I mean, there's nothing wrong with arguing. People
Right.
argue all the time, right?
People disagree. Yeah.
People disagree, parents disagree, and there's
Right.
arguments every now and then. I think that the base or the most important thing is to, once you do that, you can teach them, hey, look, we're having a disagreement,
Right.
but that does not mean that we don't love God. That does not mean that we don't
Right.
have morals. It just means that we're human beings and we're having a disagreement.
Agree. I agree. But you see, because it all depends. If you're arguing in a violent way,
Exactly,
which
yeah.
you
I
shouldn't do
agree.
in front of the children to begin with, you can let your child know that it's okay to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to
Oh, yeah,
disagree. So
yeah, I
as long
agree.
as you do it respectfully,
What
that's
about
the difference.
Let me ask you this. What about what do you think about, all right, so you have, as you know, there's a bunch of religions out there.
Yes.
Not everybody's a Christian. So
Yes.
can you grow up in a home with morals? Can you grow up in a home where morals are being taught, and still be good, and still be a good human being, and still be a good person?
Yes, of course. Look, we may be Christians. However, there are other people out there that follow God. So as long as they teach to love God, in whichever way. So as long as they have good morals, of course, but they have that, they're teaching that love towards God.
See, with me, the thing with me is that I believe in the Bible. And I know you do also. I believe in the Bible, and I believe in the community aspect of church. I can understand when people say, "Oh, I follow God in my own way." Well, if you follow God your own way, you're not following God the biblical way.
Right.
There's a
Right.
biblical way, and he wants us to be part of a
Right.
community.
Well, when I said that people may follow God, you see, I'm a Christian, okay, but I have an uncle that he's a Jehovah Witness, and I don't judge him in the
course,
sense
yeah.
that because he's a good Jehovah
person.
Witness, you know, he has morals. He has 7 kids, and he taught all his kids
Of course,
with
of course.
morals, you know, and we're not
So,
to judge.
so I mean, I see what you're saying. Our job is not to judge.
Right,
We're not to
right,
judge. We're to
right.
love. We're to help, and we
Right.
leave all the judging for God to
And
do
he's a good
Himself. And
religious
He's a
man.
good person. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good religious man.
So the kids, they grew up with morals. They grew up with these type
Oh,
of things. They
yes.
made their own mistakes, of course.
Right.
But they set an example to
Oh,
their
yes.
to the children, right?
Right.
They went to church, or they went to the temple or the
Yeah.
hall. They have a name for the
Yeah,
their church.
I believe
It's a hall or something. Yeah.
Yeah, a
so,
hall. Mm-hmm.
So they went to church, to their place of worship, and they taught their children to go and to be faithful and to do these type of things. So
Right.
there has to definitely be a pattern of behavior for the children to be able
Right.
to follow something. They need something.
He
they need to
led
have
by
something.
example.
He led by example. So you have to definitely lead by example. If you're driving and then you have children in the back, you know, they're listening, whether they're playing with
Oh,
their
yeah.
cell phones
Oh,
or whether they're
definitely.
listening, and they know the way to church. They know the way to get some fast food. They know the way. They
Yeah.
know where they're going.
Children are little sponges, I say.
So now, morals. Just quickly, morals. What do you have a list of morals? Right. Tell me what as far as community, as far as general morals. What do you have there?
Some
Yeah.
example of morals in society. I have here quite a few. Do not gossip.
Do not gossip. That's a moral thing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And you know what? That's part of the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Tell the truth.
That's also part of the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Do not vandalize property.
Okay. All right. Do not
Yeah.
vandalize property.
Yeah. Have courage.
Be courageous. That's a moral.
Yes.
Okay. Debatable, but
Yeah.
all right.
Morals in society. We're talking about society here.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Do not have sex before marriage.
Do not. That's also in the
That's
Bible.
also in
See,
the Bible.
and is that a Christian website?
No, actually, no. It's a regular your dictionary article.
Yeah. So
So
a lot of the morals, probably all of those morals that you just mentioned, they're in
Comes
the Bible.
from the
They're
Bible.
biblical.
yes.
Society leads a lifestyle
By
that
the
is a
Bible.
biblical, you know, and
Yes.
whether we like to acknowledge that or not, whether some people say no, I don't agree,
Right.
it's a biblical thing. Why? God is real,
Definitely
and He
agree.
created us, and He gave us a set of rules, and it's just like you know, you say, oh, I don't believe in God, I don't believe that
Right.
there's a God, but
and they have morals.
but if you have morals, you're following the instructions that we have on the Bible. You're
Yeah.
following the Hebrew
It's
Christian
kind of funny
Holy
they
Bible.
contradict themselves. I
It
don't
is, it
believe
is.
in God, but yet
They
they have
follow those morals, right?
that goes by the Bible.
So yeah, there's a lot of people with morals out there, and these are biblical morals. And I would say the main thing is to remember that there are eyes on us. There's eyes watching us, whether they're our children's or our neighbors. It's just that growing up in a Christian home or in a home with morals requires for the leaders, the parents, to lead by example. And
Yes.
that's the main thing. That's what we like to
Yes.
remember.
Should be a priority in the household.
So there you have it, folks. Thank you for listening. And yeah, stay tuned for our next episodes. Have a great day and a blessed day. Bye-bye.
You think you'll be able to edit that? Man, it was going so good too.
Yeah, vamos a ver. Yo te digo, vamos a ver dónde nos quedamos.